She came to Dallas for a short trip, a weekend getaway to see friends, unwind, and enjoy life after months of isolation. But what began as an innocent night out would end in one of the most haunting murder mysteries in Texas. Her name was Maricela Botello, a 23-year-old woman with a radiant smile, an adventurous heart, and a future filled with promise. One evening, she stepped out for what was supposed to be just one more night of fun. But she never returned. Her phone went silent, her car remained parked, and her friends' messages were left unanswered. As days turned into weeks, a sense of dread settled in. Investigators would later uncover a tangled web of lies, jealousy, and betrayal, all linked to one fateful night in Deep Ellum, Dallas. And when Maricela's remains were finally found months later, buried deep in a remote wooded area, the truth revealed a chilling glimpse into human cruelty. This is the story of Maricela Botello, a young woman whose kindness was stolen by darkness, and whose case would expose a shocking triangle of obsession and death. Maricela Botello was more than just another name in a headline. Born and raised in Seattle, Washington, she was known for her warmth, laughter, and relentless positivity. Her family described her as a free spirit, someone who loved to explore, connect with people, and see the beauty in life's smallest moments. She graduated from the University of Washington with dreams of building a career in tech. Intelligent and ambitious, she had landed a stable job, but her heart always leaned toward adventure. Friends say Maricela had a magnetic energy, the kind of person who made you feel instantly comfortable. She could walk into a room full of strangers and leave with new friends. When the COVID-19 pandemic struck in early 2020, life slowed down. Like many, she spent months cooped up indoors, isolated from her friends. So when she got a chance to visit Dallas that October to reconnect with an old flame, she took it. It was supposed to be a quick trip, 3 days at most. She packed light, bought her return ticket, and told her family she'd be back soon. Her mother later recalled their last conversation. How excited Maricela sounded about seeing friends and finally traveling again. There was nothing unusual, nothing to suggest danger. To those who knew her, Maricela's trip symbolized renewal, a brief break to feel alive again. But sometimes, fate has a way of twisting even the most ordinary moments into tragedy. When she landed in Dallas, she spent time sightseeing, laughing, and enjoying the warm weather. On the night of October 4, 2020, she decided to go out one last time before heading home. She dressed up, smiled for a few selfies, and left the house saying she'd be back later. That was the last time anyone ever saw her alive. That Sunday night, Maricela went out alone to Deep Ellum, one of Dallas's most vibrant nightlife districts. It's a neighborhood known for live music, neon lights, and packed bars. She was last seen around 11:30 p.m. at a bar called Select Start, a gaming lounge popular among young professionals. Surveillance footage showed her dancing, laughing, and chatting with a man later identified as Charles Beltran. Witnesses recalled the two seemed friendly. There was no sign of conflict or distress. At closing time, around 1 a.m., the pair were seen leaving together. After that, Maricela simply vanished. The next morning, she missed her flight home. Her family began calling, texting, waiting, but there was no response. Her phone pinged one last time near the 300 block of South Walton Street, and then nothing. Her rental car remained parked outside the house where she'd been staying. Her belongings were untouched. At first, friends hoped she had extended her trip or lost her phone. But as hours turned into days, worry turned into panic. Her aunt, desperate for answers, flew to Dallas and filed a missing persons report. No one could understand how someone could just disappear in a bustling city, surrounded by people, cameras, and lights. But as police retraced her steps that night, the story began to darken, and the faces around her were not what they seemed. For months, Maricela's family lived in torment. There were no solid leads, no ransom calls, no sightings. Her social media went silent, her bank accounts untouched. Online communities and volunteers joined in, sharing her photo and story across the country. Her family refused to give up, returning to Dallas multiple times to search and speak with detectives. Then, on March 24, 2021, nearly 6 months after she vanished, a breakthrough came. A man walking through a wooded area in Wilmer, Texas, roughly 20 miles from Dallas, stumbled upon something horrifying: human remains. DNA confirmed the worst. It was Maricela Botello. Her body had been left exposed to the elements, far from the bright lights of Deep Ellum. For her family, the confirmation brought both devastation and determination. They wanted answers. Who had done this, and why? Detectives revisited phone data, surveillance, and witness statements. And as they pieced together Maricela's final movements, one name kept resurfacing: Charles Beltran, the man she was last seen with. But Beltran wasn't alone. As investigators dug deeper, they uncovered 2 more names, a couple connected to him: Lisa Dykes and Nina Morano. What tied these 3 together would unravel one of Dallas's most disturbing love triangles, and expose how jealousy can twist ordinary people into killers. Police obtained warrants to examine Maricela's phone data, Beltran's digital trail, and nearby surveillance footage. The deeper they looked, the more chilling the story became. Phone records placed Maricela and Beltran at his residence on the night she disappeared, a home in Mesquite, Texas. The same data later showed Beltran's phone traveling toward Wilmer, the same area where Maricela's remains would eventually be found. When police first interviewed Beltran, he admitted meeting her that night but claimed she left his house early in the morning, around 3 a.m. according to him, and that he never saw her again. But that didn't add up. Forensic analysis of his home revealed traces of blood in one of the bedrooms, later matched to Maricela's DNA. Detectives now believed that something terrible had happened inside that house, and that others knew about it. Beltran wasn't living alone. The home was shared with 2 women, Lisa Dykes, 58, and Nina Morano, 50. They were in a romantic relationship and had taken Beltran in as a roommate and friend. As police questioned the pair, their stories were inconsistent. Both women claimed not to know who Maricela was or what happened that night. But their phone records told a different story. On the night of October 4th, their phones were active in the same area, and shortly after Maricela's disappearance, all 3 phones were turned off simultaneously for several hours. When investigators tried to reach the trio again for follow-up interviews, they had vanished. For months, all 3 fled across state lines, moving between Texas, Florida, and ultimately Cambodia. The manhunt became a national effort. Finally, in early 2021, U.S. Marshals tracked them down. Beltran was arrested first. Shortly after, Dykes and Morano were captured and extradited back to Texas. The arrests brought relief, but also raised more questions. What exactly happened that night inside the Mesquite home? According to investigators, Maricela had gone home with Beltran after their night out. At some point, Lisa Dykes, reportedly jealous of Beltran's attention toward Maricela, confronted them. An argument broke out, escalating into violence. Detectives believe Maricela was stabbed multiple times, and her body was later transported to Wilmer to conceal the crime. Though none of the suspects confessed, forensic evidence, including blood traces, digital footprints, and witness statements, placed all 3 at the scene and tied them to her death. The picture that emerged was chilling. A night of casual fun spiraled into rage, fueled by jealousy and control. As the trial date approached, shocking developments unfolded. Lisa Dykes and Nina Morano were both charged with murder, while Charles Beltran faced tampering with evidence and hindering apprehension. But the story didn't end there. In December 2021, while awaiting trial, both Dykes and Morano escaped from their Dallas area home detention. They had removed their GPS ankle monitors and disappeared into the night, once again evading authorities. It took months for U.S. Marshals to locate them. Eventually, they were recaptured in Florida and returned to Texas, facing additional charges for escape. Their flight only deepened public anger. For Maricella's family, it was like reliving the nightmare all over again. Justice delayed but not denied. In 2023, prosecutors announced that all 3 defendants would face trial for their roles in Maricella's death. Beltran, who had initially cooperated, now faced mounting evidence linking him to the cover-up. It was clear the trio's attempt to flee had sealed their fate. Court proceedings were emotional and tense. Prosecutors presented forensic reports, phone data, and witness testimonies painting a picture of jealousy and conspiracy. They argued that Lisa Dykes and Nina Morano orchestrated the attack, and that Beltran participated in the cover-up. Inside the courtroom, Maricella's family sat quietly, holding photos of her, refusing to let her memory fade amid legal chaos. Defense attorneys tried to downplay involvement, claiming there was no direct evidence linking the suspects to the act itself. But the blood, the phone records, and the flight told a powerful story. Though the trials are ongoing, all 3 remain charged with murder and related offenses, awaiting final sentencing. For Maricella's loved ones, each hearing is a painful reminder, but also a step closer to closure. Maricella's death sparked outrage and heartbreak across the country. Her family turned their pain into purpose, creating awareness campaigns for missing persons and urging women to always share their location when going out. Friends described her as a light extinguished too soon, a reminder of how quickly a simple night out can turn tragic. Each year, her family holds a memorial walk in her honor, celebrating her spirit and calling for justice in her name. Her story continues to echo, not as just another headline, but as a warning, a legacy, and a fight for safety and accountability. Maricela Botello's story reminds us how fragile life can be, and how one night can change everything. Her family's strength stands as a testament to love and perseverance in the face of unthinkable loss. If this story moved you, please like, subscribe, and share to keep her memory alive and support more true crime awareness stories. Until next time, stay safe, stay aware, and never stop seeking truth.